What were John Fourcade's thoughts on the big day in Oxford, Mississippi? What does he think about the Georgia Bulldogs? We will talk to him next. This is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast.
You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Willis, a 10-year veteran member of the national media with Yahoo Sports and a former Ole Miss staff member as well. We're going to be joined by John Fourcade, Ole Miss legend, just next in a little bit to talk about the big day in Oxford, Mississippi, the game against Tulane, and kind of talk about the Georgia game as well. All of this stuff is extremely fascinating, but Ole Miss has the ultimate free shot against the Georgia Bulldogs coming up in the Sugar Bowl. All of this and more is coming up on the Locked On Ole Miss podcast. Remember, we're free and available on all the podcast apps and on YouTube, and a special hello to the insiders and everydayers who make the show what it is. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. All right, John. This was a magical day. I mean, it was one of those days where everything just went right. The sun was shining a little bit brighter. I mean, everything was nearly a perfect day that Ole Miss had against the Tulane Green Wave.
Unfortunately, I didn't make it, Stephen. I was supposed to go up there, but I got a chance to watch it, and it was a great day to be able to watch it. And it just, there was something about the game that I wasn't fearing it. I didn't think anything of it that Tulane was going to upset us, and I'm like, there's no way. You got the first time playing the game at home, a playoff game in front of 70-something thousand people, a couple of little celebrities there, whatever it may be. The weather was great. The guys were all looking forward to it, and they took care of business. And so now with all that, we got out of the game, I believe, pretty healthy. And that's the big key, too. When you play in a game like that, you want to make sure you get out of it healthy, because you're playing now next week, which is the first of the year, against the Georgia Bulldogs. But you ended this game on a good note. You won. And if you can get out of the game with not being banged up enough, that is even better for you. So they had a chance to play a lot of guys in this game to save some of the guys. Now, granted, Lacey's a little banged up, a couple of guys, but I don't think it's serious enough. And they got a good 10 days to get rested up for the big game on the first.
Yeah, and you were unable to go up to Oxford for the playoffs, but the side effect is you're going to be all healthy to go to the Sugar Bowl, which is right down the road.
Oh, that's the good thing about it was, and I was debating on going, but I was going to go up there, and I had a little medical issue that I had to take care of, and it took changed my thoughts about it. I said, you know what? I don't want to go up there. First of all, I didn't want to go up there. And if they did lose, that's a long 5.5-hour ride home. Thinking about it, cussing, screaming, doing all this way. I was, my heart rate was down. I didn't have to worry about it. So now the Rebels are coming here, and it's a bigger picture, playing against a much better opponent. The game's going to mean a lot more because it is against another SEC school. So, hey, look, we're all looking forward to it. The city is going to be kicking shortly. I mean, we're only at the 22nd right now. We got a whole, 8 or 9, 10 days to get ready for this big week. So we can pump it up, fill it up, and do whatever needs to be done here to get the Rebels in town and get things rolling.
Yeah. Now, how does John Fourcade at the Sugar Bowl look? What does that look like? Are you just sitting there holding court? You're just standing there. You're in my area. We're not. I'm not quite the Mannings, but this is my building.
Yeah, well, my little suite might have a 3-seat suite. I'm right next to like the electric box, and it's a little door. No, we're gonna have a good crowd here, and I'm gonna have a good situation. I don't go to the game in a Superdome, and I don't sit in regular seats. I enjoy the suites that I go sit in. It's a little bit laid back. You're getting catered. You got things going that way. So we got a good crew coming here. We got a bunch of Ole Miss Rebel guys that are going to be up here. It's going to be a situation where there'll be a lot of, I guess, tailgating going on for a certain degree of tailgating, which I'm not a big tailgate guy, but they do have a media row type thing that I'll be involved in some of that stuff here with the media as the week progresses and gets up to the game. So I'm looking forward to it. You can't find a seat in the house. They've already talked about, 3-day stay, $8,000. That's ridiculous. People calling me up. I said, listen, just come over where I live. I'm on the other side of the river. You can get a couple of hotel rooms, a couple $100 a night. And I'm not talking about drop in, or pay by the hour, but it's a good, you got to spend at least 2 to 3 days and a couple $100 a day, which, you're looking at, $300-$400 for the whole hotel business. Now, when it comes to tickets, people got to realize it's not a cheap ticket at house. You can get some cheap ones, but you better bring some tissue paper, stick in your nose because you'll be bleeding from the nose sitting up top. But average ticket's $400, $500, $600, depending if you want to get a really good season. Look, if you want to go see the Rebels play in a playoff game, you're gonna have to pay, and that's just it. And I'm lucky I have some pull, and I got some. They still know me a little bit around here. I got a couple of friends, and I don't have a lot, but I got a couple. If I just wait, if it would have been an LSU game or something like that, and I went to LSU, it'd be different. But I went to Ole Miss, and we're in New Orleans, and you got to split 50-50 with Georgia, the fans and people. But we'll have a good enough attendance here that I'm looking forward to this game. Really am. I think it's going to be a better game than what people think it's going to be.
Me too, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. Whenever you look at this game, the Sugar Bowl, New Orleans, you played at Ole Miss under Steve Sloan at Ole Miss. You know what the Sugar Bowl means to Ole Miss. Is this even a little bit more special? The Oklahoma State game was special because that was the first time in 45 years or something like that. The Baylor game, okay, it was just another – you went back to the Sugar Bowl. It was still special. But this – being a playoff game against the Georgia Bulldogs, this is kind of like the Sugar Bowl back in the day when Ole Miss was playing LSU, right?
Well, Steve, you got to remember this. When they played Oklahoma State, when Hugh Freeze was coaching, and that the players played, you didn't have all this opt out. I'm getting ready for the NFL, this, that, and the other. The Rebels came here, and they had everybody at full strength ready to go. Now, when they played Baylor, we lost the quarterback early, but you started seeing teams back in that time span opting out. Players were not going to play, getting ready for the draft, this, that, or the other. But they ain't doing that here. There ain't no opting out for this game. The big, bad game. This is the Sugar Bowl. It should be always an SEC team. They've tried it a couple of times before. They didn't have – it's an SEC. Sugar Bowls always should be SEC team playing in it. But it means more now because it's a playoff game. You win, you advance. You lose, you go home. So you're going to see it all laid out on the line right now because there's no week after unless you win this week. And this is the Sugar Bowl. And when the next game comes about, if Ole Miss happens to win this game and move on to the next round, wherever they go have to play the game, great. But right now, this city is jam-packed for all SEC style players, fans, alumni, you name it. People will come out the dead. They'll dig them up from the graves to get here so they can see this. This is going to be the hottest ticket in town. You will not be able to find a ticket or a place to stay. I got rooms available. People want to rent them out. So give me a call. I'll find a spot for you.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I did a live pregame and postgame show at the Tampa Rebel Club watch party over the weekend. About 75% of the people in attendance, and there was probably 40 or 50 people there. They were all going to the Sugar Bowl. Everybody is going to this game. And I don't think that people realize what Ole Miss is going to do to that city with the opportunity to play this game. And it might have been the same if it was the Cotton Bowl or the Fiesta Bowl or the Orange Bowl. But this being the Sugar Bowl, being right there, because I always joke, the joke is the three biggest cities in the state of Mississippi is New Orleans, Mobile, and Memphis. And this game being in New Orleans, that's an easy drive for people that are used to driving 6 hours up to Oxford to see a game. They just go over about an hour away.
Well, if you take a New Orleans to Memphis, it's 6 hours. You stop off at Ole Miss, you can get there at 5.5 from New Orleans. You go to Mobile in New Orleans, it's a 2-hour ride. You go to Hattiesburg, an hour and a half. You go anywhere in the state of Mississippi, it's let's just be honest, it's 6 hours and under to get here. Well, that's nothing. And there's people coming into town that don't have tickets. Some of them just go ahead and get a hotel room. And people have called me, hey, where can we go watch the game other than going to the game? Well, I've already got a couple of my good restaurant buddy friends that they've already hooked up people, anywhere 20, 30, 40, whatever it may be. They're going to feed them. I told them, look, this is the deal. My buddies will give you our deal. How many people do you have coming in? And he said, well, how many did it have that he needs? I said, well, don't come in with 3 or 4 people and expect to get a whole room full of televisions and food and then you're paying out of your butt. Get 15, 16, 20 people. And that's all my friends were telling me. Hey, man, we could bring them at the restaurant. We'll give them a whole upstairs. They got TVs and we'll cater the food. There's nothing wrong with going and watch that and have your party there. That's what you're going to have here. The people who don't go to the game, don't even bother going Bourbon. Don't go watch the game on Bourbon Street and stuff like that. You got to go to a bar room, and that's not. Go find your good restaurant, find your place where you can sit at a table, get your friends in there. There are going to be so many people. You got to remember, they seat 75,000, 78, 80,000, let's just say, in the dome for the Sugar Bowl. You got another 20,000 fans who can't get in the game are going to be at places in the city, and this is Sugar. You mentioned the word Sugar Bowl, you automatically think SEC. And that's what you think you're going to get it this time around is SEC, Georgia, Ole Miss. It's it. The winner goes on and advances. So, yes, this is an SEC. They are guaranteed an SEC team moving on.
Absolutely. All right. When we come back, we will continue to talk about the Ole Miss and Georgia game and the Sugar Bowl. This is the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, so stick around. There's nothing like college football season, tailgates, packed stadiums, and being right there in the middle of it all. The energy, the bands, the moments you remember forever. But actually getting tickets, that can be difficult. The part used to be frustrating with long queues, logins, and prices jumping at checkout. That's why Game Time gives the advantage back to fans. It's the easiest way to unlock amazing college football tickets and experiences in just a few taps. The app is incredibly easy to use. I went from browsing to buying tickets in just a few minutes. Seeing college football tickets starting as low as $25 made it easy to plan a game day trip. Not the Sugar Bowl. That's going to be up there somewhere around $400. It's the toughest ticket of all the quarterfinal games right now, and I got something for you coming up in a couple of minutes. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE, all one word, for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Do us a favor, like, subscribe, and comment on this video. Subscribe to the podcast on whichever audio podcast you're listening to and give a 5-star review. It costs absolutely nothing, but it helps keep all of this free. Thank you for making Locked On Ole Miss your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network in America. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Ole Miss with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to lockedonolemist.supercast.com or check the link down in the show notes to learn more. All right, John. This Georgia game is interesting because Georgia's playing better than they were whenever Ole Miss met them a little bit earlier in October. But Ole Miss is better too, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Going into that Georgia game, Ole Miss had like 5 sacks over the course of the whole season. They're at 27. So that means they got like 22 in November, essentially. And that is exciting because they're growing. That front seven, I talked about in the season that Ole Miss would go as far as this front seven would take them. You need the front seven to play extremely well to beat the Georgia Bulldogs.
Well, I think one thing that you saw in the last month of the season was that Golding was playing a lot more players up front. I think that's what was killing them earlier. You cannot play in the SEC unless you got an 8-man front to be able to rotate, and maybe some of the linebackers as well. Because if you just keep playing the same studs that you got up there, they're going to get wore down. And that's why you always see the Alabamas, and the Georgia Bulldogs and even the LSU Tigers over the years, they've always had depth on the front line. I think last year was the first year I got to see the Rebels up front with their defensive front linemen rotating players. So the last 4 or 5 games of the season for Ole Miss, yes, they were playing enough guys. And so now I think they feel Coach Pete is feeling much more secure about those guys. Now, this is a different game now. I know they played earlier. I think what hurt them in the Georgia game in the fourth quarter was Stockton, quarterback, ran the ball more. He didn't throw that great against the Rebels in that game, but he killed them with his feet. And I think that's the big key now is if they can contain him when he gets out of – he's not a great passer. I mean, let's be honest. I've seen his stats, seen him play. He's an average quarterback at best, a little bit above average, than average, I guess you could say. But he's not Simpson. I mean, he's not a few other guys in the Sellers. He's not a few of those guys. He wins. That's the main thing. He wins football game. But they had the double running back tandem. They got decent tight ends. They got a good offensive line. So that's where the Rebels defensively has to step up and give a guy a break, give the front guys some relief, linebacking core. They're going to have to win this game defensively because they're not stopping the Rebels. The Rebels are going to score them some points. Let's be honest. Georgia's defense is good, but they're going to give up points. They did it to Alabama a couple of weeks when they lost to Alabama a few weeks ago. Now, granted, what Georgia did to Alabama in the SEC championship, that's fine and dandy. But you had a bad Alabama team that night. But I think that Ole Miss knows what's at stake. You played them once, so you already know what they brought to the table. You just got to improve on that. One is stopping the running back with the quarterback with the runs and having depth on the defensive side of football. Now, I think Pete's going to be able to do some things defensively. When you coach it as a head coach, you want to win a game where defensive coaches just want to win the football game. They don't care if it's 31-28 or 27-20. Whereas Lane, I thought, I want to score 45 points, and we want to beat them 45-10. That's great. That happens every now and then. But you're not playing Tulane. You're playing Georgia. So I think you'll see a little more defensive-minded game, slow the game down a little bit, and make it a game where it's maybe one team that wins it has 30 points, the other team's 24, something of that nature. So I think it'll be a closer game from the standpoint of you're going to have some teams on pins and needles right now because you don't want to make mistakes because that mistake could be the end of your season. So I think you'll see it playing close to the neck right here. They'll say, okay, we're going to keep it close under under what we can control. And I think that's what people feel like. If we can control things defensively, our offense will be just fine.
I think one thing that could be potentially important, I talked with Bill Flowers on the show, and he mentioned this. He said, coming off of bye week, players hate it bye weeks. So the time away, it messes up your timing and all of that stuff. This will be Georgia's first game since December 4th, almost a month. And Ole Miss played 2 days ago by my Simpson County math.
Well, I was always wondering the same thing. We hated bye weeks, but let me back up. We hated them, but we loved it. You need to have it because you rested your body and everything, but then you got to get back up together. If you're taking off 3 or 4 days, or if you take off 6 to 7 days, depending on how many days they give you off. But in this case with the Georgia Bulldogs, it's been 3 weeks, give or take, 2 weeks counting the championship game to this game. So it's almost going to be 3 weeks, and then you have to understand that. Yes, you got to reboot it up. Ole Miss is coming off a game last week. Georgia's got we got to get back into the groove now. No more beating up on each other or walking through with each other. We're going to play a live game, on the 1st of January. So the plus goes to the Rebels because they played already, and that's the plus about it. And players hate these, but they love bye weeks too, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right. When we come back, we're going to talk to John Fourcade about the weird statistic that a team that won in the regular season has never won the rematch in the Sugar Bowl. We'll talk about that as soon as we come back. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're watching it happen in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as soon as the action unfolds, every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover or a fourth down stop. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines that adjust instantly. Player props update as the guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, so can you. All right, John, one thing that's interesting that I was looking up, there's been 4, I think, rematch situations in the Sugar Bowl and Sugar Bowl adjacent games. And the team that won in the regular season is 0 in the Sugar Bowl. Now that benefits Ole Miss greatly. Whenever you look at it, Ole Miss lost the Georgia game. Hey, so we have that going for us on our side. But if you go back to the infamous 1959 Billy Cannon run, they rematched in the Sugar Bowl. Ole Miss took them down. If you want a Sugar Bowl adjacent game, what gave us the playoff to begin with, everybody remember the game of the century where LSU beat Alabama 9-6? Well, they rematched in a Sugar Bowl adjacent game. It was a national championship game, but it was hosted by the Sugar Bowl. Alabama completely dominated that game, 21-0. I don't think LSU crossed the 50 in that game. And the fifth quarter game that was the crazy comeback between Florida and Florida State, they rematched in the Sugar Bowl, and Florida won that game. A team that has won in the regular season has not won a Sugar Bowl, is my point.
Well, I mean, that's a plus going for us, but, that's great to hang your hats on, but you still got to play these football games. And, the stats and the history part, that's fine and dandy. And, that's something that the Rebels can, oh, yeah, man, we got a chance. We've never, we've always beaten the team that we had to play. That's great and everything, but you got to go out and play the game. You got to put your shoes on and the helmets on and go play it. And, hey, that's great to live off of and talk about that. But I think this team knows that they had Georgia beat. It just blew it in the last 5 minutes. They know what needs to be done. They're going to play a really good Georgia Bulldogs team. We all know that. Even if it wasn't a Georgia Bulldog, if it was in Alabama, if it was in LSU, anybody you playing at this time of the year, and it has to be from your same conference, the SEC, this is not going to be no easy cupcake. It's, you got to play your best game to win this football game. Ole Miss has to play a turnover less game. Don't turn the ball over. Get some turnovers. Shorten the field down for sure. If they can get it the opportunity and make Georgia go a length of a field, which is, I think, if it eats up clock and time, it benefits Ole Miss because Ole Miss can go down and score quick, and that puts your defense back out in the field. And so you don't want that. If Ole Miss can score 8 plays, 10 plays, take some time off the clock, score some touchdowns, it shortens the game down. You'd love to see a score every time you touch the football. That's great, but you don't want to see a defense out there playing, 50 minutes of football. And so I think you'll see a different style of game here. I think that's what Coach Pete wants is that, let's just keep the 60 minutes in play. Let's play 60 minutes. If it comes down to the last drive, may it come down to the last drive, and let's just go and see what happens. And I think they'll be ready to play. They got, like I said, today's the 22nd. They don't play till the 1st. So you got 9 more days, 10 more days before it gets rolling. So I think that they'll be ready to play.
All right. So what is going to be your plan for January 1st?
I don't drink, so that's going to be a good plan. I'm going to get ready for it. It's just, what more can I do? Get excited, get ready, get all my buddies in town. They'll be in, obviously, the 31st. We'll watch the, fireworks, whatever where we go to watch it at, downtown somewhere in the area, and then just get ready for that evening and try to get all my ducks in a row way before. I don't want to wait till 5, 6 o'clock. I want to be done where I can relax. Whatever's being played that afternoon, we'll go somewhere and watch it. I'm going to my friend's restaurant prior to the game, and we'll all go from there to the stadium to watch the game. And, we got some good spots to sit at, like I said. And so it's going to be I'm just going to relax, enjoy it. And I'm not one, Stephen. I don't go to games and I don't get all rowdy. I don't stand up and, and distract people. I don't sit there and chatter. I just sit there and watch the game. And, as a former player, and go through everything. People that go to games and they start talking this, that, and everything. And, I tell the women, just get away from me because, y'all go do what y'all got to do. I just want to sit here, watch the football game. And then I tell all my buddies, look, the ones who sit next to me that understand football, we can chat that way. But I'm not some of these guys that go nuts and everything. Now, if Ole Miss scores and goes in, I'll do my little celebration. But I'm not one for 60 minutes to have a conversation for 60 minutes in a suite or whatever. So I'm gonna enjoy myself, relax, and I might have a cocktail if they win it. If they don't, then it is what it is. But I'm going to be excited for it. I'm just going to be thrilled to see. Do you even know what uniforms they're wearing? I was going to ask you that. Do you even?
Oh, I think they're wearing the same thing that they wore against Mississippi State.
And I don't remember that. White?
That's the real tree helmet, the white helmet with the camouflage thing, the white jersey with the powder blue and the
right.
White
So they're the visiting team because Georgia is the higher seed. They're the home. All right, great. I have white jersey. Yeah, I'm good. And it's white and red, huh? Or white and blue.
White and powder. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. They don't have a white and red because Nike has a 4 jersey rule. Oh. And they have the navy jersey, the red jersey, and the powder jersey, so they can only have one road jersey.
That's
stupid. So yeah. So that needs to get fixed. Yeah, that needs to get fixed.
That's ridiculous. But you got Nike with Oregon. They got 2,000 different uniform jersey stuff. That don't make a bit of sense. I mean, Oregon comes out.
The owner of Nike is the Oregon guy.
Call Adidas. See what they'll give you.
Yeah, seriously. Anyway, John Fourcade, Ole Miss legend, former quarterback, going to the Sugar Bowl in his hometown. John, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll talk to you next week, buddy.
Okay, Stephen, take care.
Take care. Thanks again for tuning in to today's Locked On Ole Miss podcast. We're going to continue to talk about Ole Miss and Georgia all the way up into the Sugar Bowl, so make sure you subscribe and follow the show so you don't miss an episode. We're also on all the social channels as well. Check us out there. Did Locked On Ole Miss make your Spotify Wrapped? Proven on social media to secure a free month of our brand new Everydayer Club. Just tag our national Locked On Podcast Network account on any social platform, and we're going to drop you the code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayer Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to the members-only Discord channel. For those of you on video, we're going to send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you check out a second listen on Locked On College Football or even Locked On SEC with Chris Gordy. Hotty toddy, everybody. The Sugar Bowl, just like 8 or 9 days away. It's going to be quite awesome. Anyway, hotty toddy, everybody.